We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Welcome to Millennium News Hour. I am Tanzeeba Naureen. In today's bulletin, we will present top and trending news from across the nation and the world. Let's begin with the headlines of the day. Trump is fined $10,000 over a comment he made outside court in his New York civil fraud trial. Republicans nominate Mike Johnson as latest U.S. House Speaker candidate. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis bans pro-Palestine student organization. Toll rises to 8 dead, 63 hurt from Louisiana interstate pileup blamed on dense fog, marsh fire smoke. Gavin Newsom meets with Xi Jinping on China climate trip. Senate votes 98-0 to confirm Biden's nominee to run the Federal Aviation Administration. With Ukraine and Israel looming, Australian PM arrives in Washington to meet Biden. Israel agrees to delay Gaza invasion. China says US exaggerates its military threat in new report. Erdogan says cancelling plans to visit Israel. Lebanon's Hezbollah chief meets Hamas Islamic Jihad officials. Australia beat Netherlands by 309 runs in World Cup record rout. And Barcelona beats Shakhtar 2-1 for third straight win in group stage of Champions League. You are listening to Headlines Now News in detail. The judge in Donald Trump's civil fraud trial fined the former president $10,000 on Wednesday, saying Trump violated a limited gag order barring personal attacks on court staffers. The fine came after Trump was called to the witness stand to explain his comment outside the courtroom about a person who is very partisan sitting alongside the judge in the case, Judge Arthur Engoron. Weeks ago, Engoron ordered all participants in the trial not to comment publicly about his staff. The narrow gag order imposed on October 3 came after Trump made a social media post maligning the judge's principal law clerk, who sits beside Engoron in court. The judge ordered Trump to take down that post, and Trump did, but it lingered on his campaign website for weeks, prompting a $5,000 fine for Trump on Friday. Trump and his lawyer said his comment Wednesday was about witness Michael Cohen, not the clerk. 3 of Trump's attorneys objected to the fine, insisting that the comment was referring to Cohen, and they reiterated Trump's claim that the judge's law clerk was unfairly biased. Republicans in the United States have nominated Mike Johnson as the next Speaker of the House of Representatives, hours after their previous choice withdrew amid party infighting that has paralyzed political decision-making in the country for more than 3 weeks. Johnson, who is from the southern state of Louisiana, is the fourth Republican to win the party's nomination for the Speaker's chair, which has been vacant since a far-right faction of party rebels removed Kevin McCarthy on October 3. The disarray has left U.S. lawmakers unable to respond to the wars in the Middle East and Ukraine or take steps to head off a looming government shutdown on November 18. Johnson secured the nomination hours after Tom Emmer, the third most senior Republican in the House, withdrew because of opposition from party hardliners. It was not clear whether Johnson, a constitutional lawyer who has billed himself as a bridge builder, would be able to overcome those divisions. Nominees need to secure 217 votes to become Speaker. The high threshold and the Republican Party's slim 221-212 majority over the Democrats means that candidates cannot afford to lose votes. It is unusual in U.S. politics for an opposition party to vote for the rival party's nominee for a Speaker. During private balloting, Johnson won a majority with an expected House floor vote on Wednesday. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has banned a pro-Palestine student group from university campuses in the state as tensions rise in the United States over the Israel-Gaza war. The state university system of Florida said on Tuesday that it would dismantle chapters of the group Students for Justice in Palestine due to the group's support for terrorist groups. Based on the national SJP's support of terrorism, in consultation with Governor DeSantis, the student chapters must be deactivated, the system's chancellor Ray Rodriguez wrote in a memo to university leaders. The SJP denounced the move and said DeSantis continues to disrespect American values, such as freedom of speech. To bend the law in this manner shows the utmost disrespect not only to any pro-Palestinian organization but also to anyone who truly cares for political freedom and freedom of speech, it said. Tensions have risen on some U.S. university campuses since the Palestinian armed group Hamas's October 7 attacks in southern Israel and Israel's subsequent siege and bombardment of the Gaza Strip. The toll from a series of crashes on a Louisiana interstate rose to 8 dead and 63 injured Tuesday evening, a day after a super fog of merged fire smoke and dense fog snared more than 160 vehicles in the fiery pileup, authorities said. Lance Scott was among the many drivers caught in the wreckage on Interstate 55 west of New Orleans. The 51-year-old had been driving his daughter to the airport Monday morning when the fog thickened like a whiteout on his ski slope. He slammed on his brakes, narrowly avoiding the cars in front of him while hearing the most horrendous clank of metal behind him. An estimated 168 vehicles were involved in the crashes, Louisiana State Police said. By Tuesday evening, the number of fatalities had increased from 7 to 8 and the number of reported injured more than doubled, Louisiana State Police said in a news release. At least 63 people were injured, with injuries ranging from minor to critical. Others sought medical aid on their own, authorities said in the update. California Governor Gavin Newsom met with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing Wednesday during a trip to promote climate cooperation with China that has drawn bipartisan criticism at home. The Democratic governor is on a week-long visit aimed at deepening his state's work with China on climate change, which in turn he hopes will encourage greater cooperation at the national level. We are not going to move the needle on climate change unless the United States and China collaborate together, Newsom said at a news conference after his meeting with Xi, noting that the two countries produce more than 40% of the world's carbon emissions. Newsom has received an unusually warm welcome from Chinese officials as relations between the United States and China, the world's two biggest economies and two biggest greenhouse gas emitters, remain mired at their lowest point in decades. In their meeting, Xi said he hoped Newsom's visit, which has raised objections from both Republicans and Democrats over China's human rights record and other issues, will enhance mutual understanding between the two sides, Chinese state media reported. The Senate voted 98-0 to approve President Joe Biden's nominee to lead the Federal Aviation Administration on Tuesday, ending a span of nearly 19 months in which the agency was without a Senate-confirmed chief. Michael Whitaker is a former deputy FAA administrator and most recently served as chief operating officer of a Hyundai affiliate that is developing an air taxi. Whitaker will take over an agency that faces many challenges, including a surge in close calls between planes at major airports, a shortage of air traffic controllers, and aging technology that resulted in a brief nationwide halt in flights in January. Whitaker's confirmation seemed assured last week when members of the Senate Commerce Committee endorsed him unanimously. On the Senate floor Tuesday, Committee Chair Maria Cantwell of Washington said Whitaker's priorities will be to build a strong safety culture, attract new talent, and keep pace with technology transformation. Whitaker was Biden's second choice for the job. The nomination of Denver International Airport CEO Phil Washington languished for months, then failed to get out of the Commerce Committee because of opposition from Republicans and independent Kristen Sinema of Arizona. President Joe Biden welcomed Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese to the White House for a visit on Wednesday, which will include a bilateral meeting, joint press conference, and a state dinner. The day kicked off with a formal arrival ceremony where the President and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden greeted Albanese and his partner Jody Hayden amid the pomp and circumstance of a band playing patriotic music, including both countries' national anthems. Mr. Prime Minister, the alliance between Australia and the United States has never been more important than it is today, and we have never been more committed than we are today, the President said. Biden also briefly mentioned the wars in Ukraine and Israel during his remarks, saying, "Together we are standing with Israel against Hamas terrorism. We are standing with Ukraine against Putin's tyranny." Albanese also mentioned the wars in his brief remarks following Biden, pointing to Australian assistance to Ukraine and Australians' condemnations of the atrocities, terror, and pitiless brutality of Hamas. We will be back after a short break. Till then, stay with us. This world continuously revolving around various events. Every minute, every second, something is happening somewhere around the globe, and you want to get connected to that event or to that specific moment. Here we come, Millennium News Hour, to get you connected with top USA and international trending news, which includes local news, political news, world news, business news, health and science related news, entertainment news, sports news, and so on. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BT Network, and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with Millennium News Hour to get the world news on your fist. Welcome back to Millennium News Hour. Now it's time for global updates. Israel has agreed to delay an expected invasion of Gaza for now so that the United States can rush missile defenses to the region to protect its troops there, the Wall Street Journal reported, citing US and Israeli officials. Israel is also taking into account in its planning the effort to supply humanitarian aid to civilians inside Gaza, as well as diplomatic efforts to free hostages held by Hamas militants, the report said. The US military and other officials believe their forces will be targeted by militant groups once the invasion of the Hamas-ruled Palestinian territory starts. The United States is hurrying to deploy nearly a dozen air defense systems to the region, according to the journal. Reuters reported on Monday that Washington advised Israel to hold off on a ground assault in the Gaza Strip and is keeping Qatar, a broker with the Palestinian fighters, apprised of those talks as it tries to free more hostages and prepare for a possible wider regional war. The development comes as more than 700 Israeli strikes hit Gaza in a single day, where the death toll exceeded 6,500. China's Ministry of Defense has criticized a report from the Pentagon in the United States detailing China's growing military strength and nuclear arsenal in the latest burb between the two superpowers. We express our strong dissatisfaction and resolute opposition to this report, Defense Ministry spokesperson Wu Qian said in a statement, describing the report as exaggerated hype about a non-existent Chinese military threat, who defended China's growing military strength as necessary for safeguarding its national interest and as a deterrent to future war. China is in the midst of two major campaigns to turn its People's Liberation Army into a world-class military by 2027 and achieve national rejuvenation by 2049. A key element of national rejuvenation includes annexing Taiwan, the democratically ruled island Beijing claims as part of its territory. While Taiwan's military is a fraction of the size of the PLA, its long-standing security treaty with Washington means it could have the might of the US military standing behind it in a future war. In a display of its military strength, China fired missiles over Taiwan in July 2022 and conducted several days of naval exercises in the Taiwan Strait to protest against a visit by then US House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taipei. The PLA staged similar exercise to mark an unofficial visit by Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen to the US. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said Wednesday he was cancelling plans to visit Israel because of its inhuman war against Hamas militants in Gaza. We had a project to go to Israel, but it was cancelled. We will not go, Erdogan told ruling party lawmakers in parliament, adding that he viewed Hamas as liberators fighting for their own land. Ankar's relations with Israel froze over an Israeli raid on a Turkish ship carrying aid into Gaza, which killed 10 civilians in 2010. Erdogan met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during a United Nations summit in New York last month, marking an improvement in relations that began with the decision last year to reappoint ambassadors. The Turkish leader did not say when he had intended to visit Israel, where Ankara had been eyeing joining a natural gas pipeline project promoted by the United States. Senior officials of Palestinian militant groups Hamas and Islamic Jihad have held talks with Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah about achieving real victory in their war with Israel, the Lebanese group said Wednesday. The Hezbollah statement did not specify when or where Nasrallah met with Hamas number 2 Saleh al-Aruri and Islamic Jihad leader Ziad Nakhale, beyond saying that it was at an undisclosed location in Lebanon. News of the meeting comes as Hezbollah and allied Palestinian factions exchange daily fire with the Israeli army across the Lebanon-Israel border, raising fears of a new front in Israel's war with Hamas in Gaza. The three groups are part of the axis of resistance: Palestinian, Lebanese, Syrian, and other Iran-backed armed groups opposed to Israel. They discussed what the axis of resistance must do at this critical stage to achieve real victory in Gaza and Palestine and stop Israel's brutal aggression, the statement said. They also discussed recent events in the Gaza Strip since the start of Operation Al-Aqsa Flood, the unprecedented October 7 Hamas attack that killed more than 1,400 people, mostly civilians in Israel. Now it's time for business news. Today's New York stock close price is 14,914.12. The NYSE Composite is decreased by 111.64 points or 0.74%. Tokyo stock close price is 31,269.92. The Nikkei 225 index is increased by 207.57 points or 0.67%. Shanghai stock close price is 2,974.11. The Shanghai index is increased by 11.87 points or 0.40%. Hong Kong stock close price is 17,085.33. The Hang Seng index is increased by 93.80 points or 0.55%. Bombay stock close price is 64,049.06. The Sensex index is decreased by 522.82 points or 0.81%. Let's have a look on today's sports stories. Glenn Maxwell's fastest World Cup century of 40 balls and 104 by David Warner led Australia to a record World Cup 309-run rout of the Netherlands on Wednesday for their third straight victory at the tournament. Maxwell's 106 of 44 balls, laced with 9 fours and 8 sixes, fired Australia to 399 for 8. A total their bowlers defended easily as the Dutch were dismissed for just 90 in 21 overs in New Delhi. Five-time winners Australia bettered their previous margin of World Cup victory against Afghanistan by 275 runs at Perth in 2015. India holds the ODI record for highest margin of victory when they hammered Sri Lanka by 317 runs in Thiruvananthapuram earlier this year. Barcelona beat Shakhtar Donetsk 2-1 on Wednesday to keep a perfect record and stay on course to advance to the knockout rounds of the Champions League after 2 straight group stage eliminations. Ferran Torres and Fermin Lopez scored a goal each in the first half to help Barcelona secure its third straight victory in Group H. The Catalan club reached 9 points, 6 more than both Shakhtar and Porto, which visits winless Antwerp in the other group match later Wednesday. The victory kept Barcelona unbeaten in 13 matches overall this season, with 10 wins and 3 draws. Let's have a look on today's weather forecast. Before finishing today's news, let's hear out the headlines again. Trump is fined $10,000 over a comment he made outside court in his New York civil fraud trial. Republicans nominate Mike Johnson as latest U.S. House Speaker candidate. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis bans pro-Palestine student organization. Toll rises to 8 dead, 63 hurt from Louisiana interstate pileup blamed on dense fog, marsh fire smoke. Gavin Newsom meets with Xi Jinping on China climate trip. Senate votes 98-0 to confirm Biden's nominee to run the Federal Aviation Administration. With Ukraine and Israel looming, Australian PM arrives in Washington to meet Biden. Israel agrees to delay Gaza invasion. China says US exaggerates its military threat in new report. Erdogan says cancelling plans to visit Israel. Lebanon's Hezbollah chief meets Hamas Islamic Jihad officials. Australia beat Netherlands by 309 runs in World Cup record rout. And Barcelona beats Shakhtar 2-1 for third straight win in group stage of Champions League. That's all for today. Keep watching Millennium News Hour for latest news update. To stay updated, like our Facebook page, subscribe our YouTube channel and visit our website. Our website address is www.millenniumnews24.com. Millennium News 24 is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia, available with the Sky Network, Worldwide Jadoo TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago Media Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all the latest news worldwide. Thank you.